going over Viper's gameplay. Viper is a very interesting character due to her kit having the most smokes and aerial denial of any character in the game. So here we're going to see the fact that she does have the spike indicator, so there is an indicator for the fact that she does have a spike. And we'll also see that her smokes do have a fuel indication, and that she can have Q and E up at the same time. We'll talk about all of her abilities a little bit more in depth as this plays out. So her abilities take about 10 fuel per second to actually use, or at least for both of them. We don't know whether or not each one has a unique amount of fuel that it requires, but as of right now, using both does take 10. She also has this Molotov here. This Molotov is the same as mostly every single other Molotov, and her ultimate basically creates a very large circle of decaying damage that allows her to see through walls. We'll see that later on. This does take 7 orbs to use. For those of you who don't know, orbs can be picked up from the ground, so you can pick them up using the orbs. These take 3 seconds to pick up. You can do it with kills, or you can do it with objectives. Any of these do work in case you want to use her ultimate. Her ultimate is one of the more expensive ones. Ultimates either cost 6 or 7. So, seeing as we're in this situation, let's talk about her role within a team. So we'll talk about the arguments for all of her positions, and I'm not going to really pick a side per se, but I will state that there are some that she's better than others. However, this is my personal opinion and does not reflect the actuality of the situation due to the fact that we haven't seen how the game plays out. There's a potential that none of this actually even matters, but we'll talk about it anyways. So first, she could be a entry fragger. This is unlikely. The reason it's unlikely is because all of her abilities are overtime and they're all smokes. There's no flashbangs, and she does better the later and later into the round she gets due to her ability to deny specific places and her ability to recharge her things. So most likely she's not going to be a first. So then we come to the second. The second is the support, who helps the entry fragger basically get into the site with a flashbang, with smokes, things like that. Now, the problem with her being second is the fact that we want her to be alive even longer, but she does have some potential there just by denying a lot of area of movement for her team, but she's probably not a second. So we come to a 5th position, which would be her being a lurk. This basically stops people from rotating and going into certain places. The problem with her being in a lurk position is the fact that her damage is not permanent, it's all decay. For those of you who don't know, Viper does 2 forms of damage, decay and permanent. So permanent damage basically decreases armor and HP permanently, as the name suggests. And it rapidly goes down and you can die to it. Decay, on the other hand, will always does not do a damage to armor and will drop you down to 1 HP. This 1 HP will slowly go up. You cannot die from decay damage. So because of this, she's probably not a 5th. She could potentially be a 5th using her ultimates and stuff like that to block rotates, though it's questionable whether or not this would be successful. So most likely she's going to go into the 3rd or 4th position. This is because these roles tend to be the most important for clutching. And this character is going to be a very clutch-friendly character due to her ultimate, due to a lot of her abilities, and her abilities to force 1v1s. So for those of you who don't know, how you win a 1vx situation is that you repetitively find 1v1 situations and then win them. So basically you find a 1v1 situation, and then you kill another guy, 1v1, and then eventually you get down to a 1v1 that is the final 1v1, and then you win. This kind of character does allow you to find those 1v1s a lot easier than other characters. That's why she's probably going to be best in the 3rd or 4th role. It's questionable whether or not she'd be 4th, because 4th is normally the opera. Not always, but most of the time it is. And this character doesn't have a lot of tools for opping, so you should expect Viper on 3rd. However, this character is very powerful despite her appearance of lack of flexibility within her given role set. So we'll see her smokes plume. She has a large smoke bubble, which is this one right here, and we have a large smoke wall, which is right here. And then obviously Molotov ult, and her ult is massive. We'll see that later on. So we'll see her fuel rapidly decline, and we will also see her right here shoot this guy in the head one time. And we'll also see how much, if you guys look at her dynamic crosshair as she moves, and we'll go back a little bit so you guys can see that. So even the slightest movements in this game are punished significantly. It goes all the way out to like here with that. This shows you that movement in this game is going to be very difficult when it comes to counter strafing and stuff like that, and it is something that you should definitely note. But the gun is a one-shot headshot, so do note that. So here we're going to plant the spike. The spike takes 3 seconds to plant, for those of you who don't know. So she's going to just plant the spike. Boom. Planted. And her fuel does go up by 5 per second. Okay, so every 5 seconds, she's going to every second she's going to get 5 fuel, basically. And then she can reactivate these abilities. That's what these are. When she is done using an ability, or she's run out of fuel with that ability, it goes on cooldown, so you can't spam put up the wall and put it down at will. This is constant, so just be aware of that. But she can reactivate once she has enough fuel. So here we're going to see her ult. Her ult is this massive green like cloud of death and destruction. This does decay damage, for those of you who need to know. And it does fairly rapid decay damage. So here we're going to see her, see the judge and its one-shot capabilities. With what is assumed to be full armor, so be aware of that. So smoke integrity. Her ultimate will last until she leaves her ultimate, okay? And she has to leave the ultimate for 4 seconds for it to fully see out its lifespan. So be aware of that when you're trying to fight Viper in her smoke or outside of her smoke. Also, you see this little red line? This right here is Sage being outlined from her smoke. She can see people from close range within her smoke. You can't see her, but she can definitely see you, and it makes it very easy for her to get a fair amount of kills. Thank you for watching. This was Viper's gameplay video, the deep dive of it, and I hope you guys all enjoyed.